Hey guys, welcome back with another video. We're going over the Troy patch notes for 1.2, and this is the Amazon patch pretty much. It's the patch came out on the same day as the Amazon release, and lots of new things have been done. Lots of new things. Not all of them I think are good. They're interesting, definitely, but some things might have yeah, might need a little bit rebalancing again in the future, very near future. Anyway, let's get straight into it. So Achilles' start position has been further fixed. He's gotten more units, and the Ethiopian army, which is your first enemy, has been fixed. They fixed that animations, which is great. They fixed the baseline strength, diplomacy for military alliances, defensive alliances, and military access. All that has been rebalanced. What the rebalancing is, we'll look further on, and we'll also do some testing. And there's a number of clarifications on the quality of life improvements in diplomacy, as well fixing a number of issues that have been introduced. And this is normal. This is something that happens every time you fix something. Something else might break, and they're just keeping ahead of it. And the Priestess, Ritual of Ruination, and Satyr's Song of Discord have been changed on what they do. Now, this is the overall, this is the summary, and with it, I like a lot of it, but I don't like the Achilles change. Achilles was already simplified enough and fixed enough. Now, perhaps it might have been made too easy with regards to adding him more units. Again, he does have a really difficult start because everyone will kill you, and but we'll look further into what exactly they changed and how it might affect the playstyle with Achilles. Keep in mind, Achilles, turn 40 onwards, is an unstoppable war machine. Now, with regards to bug fixes, they fixed a number of bugs. Nothing that happened to everyone, but it did sometimes happen, and so that's great. They making sure that the game doesn't crash. Game works fantastic. Then, with regards to epic heroes and missions, there are a number of missions that were fixed and changed. There were bugs and issues with regards to certain heroes, like with regards to Agamemnon not being able to use his equipment or his abilities while getting his chariots, with regards to Achilles getting his epic armor, but he wouldn't be able to use his chariot when he gets his epic armor because his chariot would have already been equipped, and all of these other stuff which would help a lot. Also, the AI has been improved slightly, and they're working on promoting confederation rather than vassalization a bit more now, and they're going in that direction with that. These are all like minor changes to the generals, the heroes, the AI. It's interesting that the Odysseus and the Telebones will now wage war till one of them dies, which is nice, which means the AI was making alliances there when they shouldn't have. The Minotaur and Cyclops having unique names is also a cool feature when you get them from epic missions. And Sarpedon's conquest of Crete is now, yeah, they fixed the zoom button. With regards to that, I'm not sure there was something else. They fixed, yeah, mostly they fixed the AI's generals, how they worked, and how it would function. With regards to diplomacy, they made sure that when you confederate, spies don't lose their skill tree, which is annoying. It could be still nice to have the option to respec. This is something we also see a problem in Warhammer. But of course, to each their, you know, it's their own decision to where they take the game from there. The AI, again, won't be breaking agreements nilly-willy. And also, this is a big one. AI no longer proposes barters featuring the same resource on both sides. That was a big thing that was happening, where you'd have single barter, multiple turn barter. Now it's fixed, and you cannot cheese it as much anymore. It was already sort of fixed in the last patch, but now they've made sure it doesn't happen, because you could still somehow weasel in a little bit more resources. And I think that's it with regards to diplomacy. With regards to campaign, there are a number of things that changed. So priestesses have been reworked slightly, and agents have again been worked on. Now the effect of Conquest of Ardor Priestess skill is now experience own units to happiness after completing the ritual with a value of 3. Change the icon of Conquest of Ardor to happiness icon to reflect the new purpose. So basically now it's It gives, instead of giving experience, it gives happiness to the cities. It's really good, and to the regions, and that's something that can be useful. Of course, experience is really useful because you're getting high experienced units. It's going to do a lot of damage. They also fixed the thing where if Helen is captured in the city after Paris has been destroyed, her effect does trigger, and there's an event for the new ruler of her settlement. So that's really cool. Odysseus no longer starts building his barracks like multiple times, which is just, I didn't even know that was happening, but that's good that it's not happening. And everything else, again, is just minor fixes here and there, and making sure that so the main issue with Troy right now is there are certain abilities that don't work. Even though they say, let's say you're meant to have 50% bonus against simps, you don't get the bonus. But now they're making sure you get the bonus versus simps. Always important to have bonus versus simps. And yeah, also the shield wall for Caravantes is also present in campaign. And this brings me to a small tangent that I want to make. I am noticing they're adding a lot of passive abilities or active abilities again into the units, and that's really good because it does help a lot, giving you a little bit more flavor, if you wish, to the game, and a much more depth to the units. People were asking, but why don't we have formations? Instead of formations, you're getting a lot of different little things which just add as much, if not more, than formations. Now, with regards to the UI, and it's just, again, they're making sure that everything's displayed properly. There were some things which just broke, or you had text floating randomly. Building was no longer hidden by building 2 tip, this kind of thing. They've really made sure that they're resizing things, they're making sure people can see it properly, and it looks properly. Nothing in here actually, like when I read through it, really you know, stood out for me. Was really important. But if you guys want, again, link will be in the description below, read through it. They're just minor things, but these minor things do add up, and they do help the game to look better. They fixed a number of tutorial issues. Fixed a bug where enemy units suffer losses after advanced battle tutorials unpaused. That is interesting. So they fixed that. Glad it's not there anymore. And they're also like no longer declared war from Agamemnon. Rage and Hysteria help pages in the battle and properly open. All this kind of stuff. By the way, apologies for the sound in the background. My cat found his toy and he's having the time of his life. Now, with regards to battle, this is important. Archers firing at the target location has been changed from Apollo's Rain to Volley, which has its description changed to differentiate from Hero skill, which has the same name. And this is something we were talking about. The Volley ability is really cool, and it will be something that will do a lot of damage, and it will be interesting to see how it works. Out of control state of the Divine Challenge will remain active even after the ability has ended. That's cool because that is already a very strong ability, and it does neutralize your hero, or you neutralize the enemy hero quite a bit. They fixed an issue where enemies in March stands did not start battle with low stamina. This was a big thing, and I noticed it a few times where you either start with very low stamina or very high stamina, like full fresh, and even though you're in March stance, and the AI kind of abuses this because they're constantly marching around. And you do need to ambush them, and if they're in March and you're ambushing them, you automatically should have a massive victory condition there. You know, victory points no longer continue to drop once the battle has finished. I'm not entirely sure what that was entirely. Victory points no longer continue to drop? I have no idea, but they apparently fixed that. Okay, also, companion heroes no longer throw javelins while mounted on melee chariots. That's really good. And fixed Troy, where Troy's garrison arrived as reinforcements during the Trojan horse battle. I heard about that. That was pretty annoying. I was reading Reddit about how that happens. And also, as I was saying, the shield wall formation is now properly. Units no longer perform missile attacks once routed. So all of these is just making sure that units work and function properly in battle. Now, what's really important is the battle animation is there. It's working in the UI in the battle where units actually impact properly, and that kind of stuff. Now, we wanted more of units that just, you know, proper interaction between models and proper like model animations. Now, this is happening. It seems they are fixing a little bit here and there and making sure that they're hitting properly each other and the units clash feel a little bit more weightier. And we've noticed this in my live streams in the past week, that if you guys want to check them out, I did 2 live streams on the Amazon of Pennsylvania. I did like 4 hours playing the campaign, which is really good fun. It genuinely is good fun. I would suggest you start your own campaign. If you're not an expert in the game, just start it on hard or even lower. But if you are, legend is going to be a challenge, and it's going to be a fun one. And yeah, that's going to be interesting. And now also, this is something that's really cool. All heroes on chariots should now have their shield stat on their unit cards. So you can actually have sort of shielded heroes on chariots. And that will be a big thing, because shielded chariots will increase their survivability for a long time. They've also made sure the antagonist aggressiveness is increased, because there was a period where, well, frankly speaking, you'd get the antagonist and they would just sit there across the map and not do anything. They've increased the series life to 10 turns. That's really cool. We've already talked about the evaluations of military alliances. Rebels have more gives you more experience, so it's really good that you can farm rebel armies and you can farm rebellions. That will really give you a strong army and a strong start. They increased the recruitment of chariots and the upkeep of chariots. That's something that's going to be big. And they replaced the food requirement cost with gold and high tier chariots. So they're making chariots a bit better again, but then they're nerfing them significantly with regards to resources, and that's a really good nerf. That's a really good nerf. That's something we want to see. This is the kind of balancing we'd like to see in the future. Blessed in failures from 5 to 3 after completing a ritual, and reduce the effect of Soothsayer from 3 to 2 after completing a ritual. Also, this is something that's interesting. Besieging armies now cost -8 happiness in the besieged settlement. This is brilliant, because it makes sense, right? The settlement is under siege and it is going to suffer. Now, AI changes, factions starting their initial setup, choosing story or story/fan will enable pillar boosts not only to player alliance but also the enemy alliance as well. All factions will try to facilitate the damn Trojan conflict slightly earlier. Priority for some tier 2 units for AI recruitment has been slightly increased, and priority for tier 1 has been slightly increased. And this is good, because sometimes after you beat their first army, they just start spending tier 1 units to try and kill you, and then they would never remove them. And yeah, this is good. Priority for tier 1 units post turn 70 has been decreased significantly, and this would make sure that they're getting really strong armies for you to fight, rather than just, you know, militia and armor, like spear youths, whatever they're called. So that's going to be something that's really nice to see. Now, this is the big change. The ritual of Ruination grants you favor when used against a foreign settlement, in the same way that you use the action on your settlement. This means religious abilities in the priestess can be used everywhere when you send her deep into territory of another faction. However, be aware that trying to enact a ritual on a foreign settlement might fail, and the owner of the settlement might not look kindly on this. The change has replaced the previous morale-reducing effect of the ritual of Ruination. And that's really good, because the morale effect could only do so much, and it felt as if it was a lackluster ability. So we're going to see how this works, and basically gives you favor when you use it in other settlements. This guy is energetic this morning. The Satyr Song of Discord has also been changed. Instead of causing enemy units to tire more quickly, no wait, it causes the enemy units to tire. Apologies, my reading, like right now I'm seeing double. To tire in battle more quickly, and after the overtly organized by the Carpine agent. We implemented this effect to better differentiate between the Saturn and Gorgon's action against enemies. Okay, that's interesting. So we'll make sure that they're tired at the start of the battle. Now, the big thing which I'm really not that into, this is something that I'm really not that happy to see. Achilles has more units in his army, 2 more units. He also has the second Alopian army, and this is the one thing I kind of agree, like being slightly away from the Alopian settlement, but at the same time it being closer allows for cheese to happen. Not easy cheese, but you could just get the entire enemy garrison to sally out, and then you could beat the garrison. means I must re-record the Achilles 5 turns start established. The main building is the Hestea in the first looping settlement has been reduced from 2nd to 1st level. That's absolutely makes sense because it was very strong. It was a very difficult first fight. The possibility for war with the Thessalonians has been removed, improving relations with this faction as well as Narcos. Okay, so they basically made everyone around him like him more, and his first army that he has to fight is weaker, he has more troops, and he has to fight a weaker settlement. And all of this was already possible, even pre-buff that he got last 2 weeks ago now. So this is going to be very interesting. They also increased the baseline relations between the King and Pillar factions, and that's important because they hated each other. You have no idea how many times you can go to war, especially if you're playing Achilles or Odysseus, the others attack you. Impending defection event should no longer be triggered for any reason. Alright, battle AI shattered units now immediately forced to retreat outside the battlefield borders, absolutely good. And now the big one, the battle changes, and this is what we're for, and then we're almost done. So the battle changes we see here is all missile units have their strats slightly adjusted to better fit the game, meaning that missile units have reduced 15% ammo. This is mad. This is going to really affect the game. Really affect the game. This is crazy, and in a good way, but this is crazy. Also, low-tier javelins and low-tier bows have their weapons damage reduced, but then high-tier bow units, which were very weak and there was no reason why you could get them, have their damage slightly increased. Same things with slingers, and there's going to be, you know, reducing 5 and increasing 5, that's a difference of 10. There's going to be a reason why you want to get the high-tier units. That's absolutely good. Low armor has been added to Militia and it only newts. No actual stats have been changed. Okay, so they just added a status. Slightly adjusted the damage one-handed axe units have a more armor piercing damage and less normal damage. Their over DPS is the same, that's good. So they actually have a reason to exist now. Increase the charge bonus for Pharyngian warriors. Are you serious? Those are so good already. And armored has been added to heavy Trojan chariots, in which they already are armored. Skirmishing has been added to the... My shoe is getting chewed. Skirmishing has been added to archer chariots and Trojan noble chariots instead of the special range attack one. That's good. Chirobante's health and armor has been increased. They have more battle speed, so they're much stronger now. Okay, there might be a reason to get them. And they will take reduced stamina penalties. Okay, the Chirobantes were ridiculously nerfed, weak to start off with, so now they're giving them a bit more functionality. They also have a tighter formation and resist chariot charges. That's interesting. Spartoids have also been buffed, and this is something that we have seen coming. They have more attack damage, more armor piercing, more health, and more battle speed, and they have even more stamina. And with regards to the Minotaur, we get less health, less armor, and less morale. And yeah, also his ability, the Minotaur's ability, Savage Roar, only reduces 10 morale, which was ridiculously at 30. Speed of Pelagic, Thalassanians, and Hector's Chosen has been reduced to 42, which again, they should be even down to 30, because they are ridiculously armored units, and they should not be that fast. So overall, what I like about this, I do like the missile changes, I do like the Chirobantes. The Minotaur's health should have stayed the same. His armor might have been okay to reduce, but definitely the Savage Roar is good, and these guys need to even lose more speed, because they're so, especially Hector's Chosen, they're like insanely heavily armored. At least in the 30s, even 37, 38, but they should be in the 30s. They shouldn't be able to outrun certain missile units. Uiux Improvements, strategic threat level of a faction will now be displayed as a new icon above the faction. Leader's portrait in diplomacy panel. Alright, that's interesting. The faction's current greatest threat will also be displayed upon hovering over the icon. Factions from culture groups that can be confederated by the player's faction will now be marked with a special icon in the faction list. Alright, that's good. That's good. They will have a little, yeah, that is something we've seen in Rome in itself, and Attila, I believe. I'm not sure about Transylvania, but I've seen this before, and it's really cool to have that. That just adds a little bit of flavor, and you don't need to go through so many panels to get to see if you can confederate or not. Treat propositions, that have negative repercussions will now be marked warning icon. Now this is something I'm not really liking. Like they should have a little, like, you know, you have 8 turns left, but not that red icon. We've seen already, because they included it in the this in the press version of the game, which was what I was using. What is quite interesting. Homeric character trait is now its own icon. Additionally, Homeric character trait will be visible in recruit hero panel if a hero has the trait. Okay, added color blindness support for enemy. Okay, that's really nice. That's really cool. And added color blindness. It's really nice. A new explained address to be added to the non-item in the ancillaries to warn player that an equipping an item will always put it in transit. Alright, that's good. And they've reliability rating, they fixed it. There were some bugs transferring the old saves to the new system to 1.1. Now they made sure that at the end turn it will refresh to make sure everyone starts from fresh. Alright, so what do we take from this overall? Improvements to missiles, improvements with regards to trying something new with the priestesses and the satyr. They are making sure that the animations are improving. They made Achilles a bit too easy for my taste. He was a bit difficult to start off with, but then again, all you had to do was just bunker up, even then, so making him even easier to start. Understandable, because everyone wants to play Achilles. He's essentially the most famous of all the Trojan heroes, so I would understand why they would make him more accessible. Especially to newer players to Total War, they would find it quite difficult to win. And yeah, I think that is mostly it. They did add a lot of small things, and it's not changing the game, but rather it's balancing it out. There are balances, and we should expect more coming in the future. We expect more coming in the future, not should. We expect more, and we'll see where this game is going. Guys, this has been Linksy. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a comment. Tell me what you think about the changes. Tell me if I missed anything, and yeah, I'll try to get to it. And with that, guys, subscribe, leave a like, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye.